Discussing who's better than dad over the dinner table might be a consistent topic for the James family in the coming years as the kids grow older. For now, Bronny at 16 years old and 6 foot 4 inches already has started to make a splash in high school as scouts line up to watch. But how good is he actually? Here's an in-depth look at how good Bronny really is. Be sure to subscribe and check out the links in the description for more latest Hoops content. It's no coincidence that Bronny James is a hot prospect. His father is one of the greatest players of all time, so we wouldn't say there are high expectations so much as there are great expectations. And not necessarily to be sensational, but to at least be a good player who has a solid future in the NBA. On the face of it, it's impossible to compare father and son based on their high school record, but if we were to look at the stats alone, the gulf between these two is pretty clear. As a freshman, LeBron averaged 21 points and 6 rebounds for St. Vincent St. Mary varsity basketball team. As a result, his team finished the season undefeated, winning their state title. In his sophomore year, fan hysteria started to mount around LeBron because he was simply unstoppable. All of a sudden, he's up to 25 points and 7 rebounds a game and lobbying to get himself drafted in 2002. Instead, LeBron stayed on another year and slated 31.6 points, 9.6 rebounds, 4.6 assists, and 3.4 steals per game. A ridiculous high school record. Looking at Bronny's record with an average of 4.1 points in 15 minutes of playing time for Sierra Canyon, a private school in Chatsworth, LA, it's clear that he isn't making the same impact, but no one expects him to. This conversation is about how good he is, not how good he is compared to his father. LeBron was recruited as a wide receiver in football to many Division I programs and ended up going first overall in the 2003 draft, aged 18. So clearly he was athletically gifted on a number of levels. He could have easily been drafted to the NFL.
Where do I start? First of all, I want to thank everyone for coming out here today. After a long discussion with my friends and my family, I've decided to follow my first love, and I'm going to sign with the Cleveland Browns, baby.
Up to that point, the expectation was that he would be one of the best ever. He was an athletic legend with flocks of fans watching high school games on pay-per-view. Yes, Sierra Canyon has a host of nationally televised games. Yes, they have a huge social media following, but it was a whole other level of media attention for one player back then. Besides, Bronny isn't the only reason people watch their games. Sierra Canyon is popular for numerous other reasons, primarily due to the fact that players such as the 10th pick of this year's NBA draft, Zaire Williams, and Dwayne Wade's son, Zaire Wade, also played there. Back in the early 2000s, people went only to watch LeBron. They expected him to go on and reach the mountaintop by winning multiple championships and breaking multiple NBA records, which obviously he did. At this stage, Bronny is after a different goal. He's setting out to build a solid NBA career, and with current scouting reports, he can absolutely do that. His lack of minutes doesn't mean he doesn't play, he just isn't a starter. Bronny has consistently featured playing in all 34 of his freshman high school games, the only player on the team to do that. He has an ESPN scout rating of 86 overall and is constantly climbing. The only thing to hamper him so far is the fact that he has already undergone surgery for an injury to his knee, something that can seriously affect his future. LeBron rarely had any injuries in his early years, with the exception of a broken wrist in 2001, which kept him out of high school basketball for roughly 7 weeks. So in this case, it's all about how Bronny responds to the injury coming back into the game. If he responds the same way as his father, it's fair to say he'll be just fine considering LeBron is known for rarely missing games throughout his entire career. The main stumbling block we see is the amount of pressure that continues to be piled on Bronny's back while standing in the shadow of LeBron. Regardless of how the family will try to avoid this, it takes a lot of mental strength to ignore the continued opinions and comparisons thrown out by the fans or media. Colleges genuinely started recruiting Bronny before high school at the tender age of 10. Playing as a combo guard, he clearly has a different style of play compared to his father's early years of getting to the rim and causing havoc. He's gearing up to be an elite passer, something that is constantly overlooked in the NBA. The key component to his success is that he'll build the rest of his game out, including a jump shot his father struggled with. Apparently, Bronny's jump shot is better than LeBron's already, which adds a more positive narrative to the casual fans spouting off opinions on a player who could blossom in a completely different way. Another important point to note is Bronny's marketability, not just as LeBron's son, but because of his own brand. He streams on Twitch to offer regular commentary on basketball and video games, which according to his father, he plays regularly. In a recent interview, his father claimed, "Bronny plays video games all day. I mean, he loves basketball, loves being a big brother to his brother and sister, but video games is his thing." He's building a character and distinguishing himself from LeBron, something that NBA franchises think about when recruiting. Plenty of other stars' sons have fallen by the wayside not just because of their talents, but because their only marketing tool was their father. A superstar parent only works for so long. You need talent, dedication, and your own clear identity, which is what Bronny has developed with a current Instagram following of nearly 6 million and a TikTok following of 5.2 million. The talent part will be clear to see next year when he becomes a starter. Defense has been one of the most focused areas of young recruits, and Bronny is known to be a superb defender. He is incredibly strong with a good center of gravity and excellent balance, which no doubt will alter as he grows. But the taller he is, the better he'll be at guarding some of the bigger players. He just needs to be aware of trying to hold on to the other part of his defensive game. He's also more regularly than not in a defensive stance when on defense, unlike a lot of other players who take breaks in between. This effort counts for a lot during reaction time when the ball is in play. His communication is excellent too. You'll often see him talking to teammates to avoid the easy transition scores. He gives multiple efforts too, which for any opposition offense is a nightmare to deal with. Bronny's offense needs work, but his size will help him at the rim, and his clean jump shot has given him the opportunity to develop a good three-point shot. Scouts have specifically spoken about his corner shooting and his jumper, which bodes well, but all the more impressive is their praise of his passing and vision. He spaces the floor well and sees a pass early. Obviously, because of his positioning, he's eventually got to be a primary ball handler, and what's most intriguing is it doesn't faze him. Bronny wants the ball. He wants to be the man, which is a very notable asset to have when regarding a young player's mental strength in running offense. He's also happy to be a secondary playmaker too, which adds to his good temperament and excellent attitude. The level of maturity he has shown on and off the court is probably his most impressive trait. A good teammate, an unselfish passer, and a leader.
Otherwise, the Irish can just run it out. Oh, the deflection and the steal by Bronny James, and the finger roll off the glass. Bronny has given Sierra Canyon the lead.
It's almost as if he knows to build out these parts of his game before working on the most attractive skills of all, finishing. He's not looking for a highlight reel. He's looking to become the best he can be. As for the dedication, there's a clear indication that he's been working hard in the gym. During the pandemic, he and his father posted consistent workouts that took considerable effort and displayed his intent. He added an awful lot of muscle and size during his growth spurt between 2020 and 2021, which is not only genetic. You have to eat right and work hard 24/7 to get in shape and stay in the kind of shape Bronny is in now. And in comparison photos next to his dad, it looks like it's working. Ultimately, it's hard to tell how good he is because he has played on such loaded high school teams. But make no mistake about it, this young man is a legitimate prospect in his own right. The knee injury will set him back a bit, but we can only imagine he'll get the best treatment and advice from his father. Which leads us to our next point, resources. Like it or not, this is the one advantage Bronny will have over many basketball players starting off. The right school, right coaches, the right treatment, the right meals, the right advice, the right everything. He's not going to be good just because he's LeBron's son, but he'll get a head start based solely on the conditions in which he plays in. Imagine waking up every day and walking out to your own basketball court. Then imagine your training partner is one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Yeah, that's an advantage. The pressure of being his father's son could weigh him down, but ultimately the resources prop him up. And from what we've seen so far, he seems like an all-around good kid, which is half the battle. Coaches have given honest assessments of his excellent work ethic and solid attitude, which will ultimately be what takes him over the edge to the promised land. He's edged his way up from a 4 to a 5-star prospect in the last 9 months alone, and from 30th to 27th overall recruit in his class. We don't think he'll stop there either, as next year we expect his game to blossom and his high school career to finally take off the way we expected it to. A dream of LeBron has always been to play with his son one day, which didn't look likely because of the age gap. But now with Bronny's incredible growth as an athlete and a player, it looks more likely than ever that he'll reach the NBA a lot sooner than many expected. One James on the same court is tough enough. Add another into the mix who's just half as good as his dad, and you've got some serious trouble. Even if it's by the time LeBron hits 40, I'm pretty sure we would all love to see it.
By Green, throws it back up top. James puts up the three. Oh, it's gone! LeBron James from downtown! As the shot clock expires.
How good do you think LeBron's son is? Do you think Bronny James will make the NBA? Comment below to let us know your thoughts, and be sure to subscribe for more. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss another one of our videos. We'll see you next time, latest Hoops fans. Until then, keep shooting your shot.